Harald Malmgren, welcome back. How are you, Harald?
Yeah, hi,
It's
Dale.
great to see you. So I wanted to show some people what your latest project is, Harald, and here's the newsletter that you and Nick are putting together. So why don't we talk about maybe your last issue? What's top of mind for you, Harald, in this environment? You did bring up China last time.
Yes.
And I was saying a few months ago that I thought China would retaliate against Apple and limit usage of phones because it's an icon and just to flex their muscles. China's still going to be problems on the trade front and retaliations, tit for tat. What are you thinking here?
Well, regarding China, it's pretty simple. The news tends to focus on U.S. action and then Chinese retaliation, but actually, Xi Jinping is pushing decoupling way ahead of the U.S. By all kinds of actions against U.S. companies. And now the data on Chinese companies is being fogged up by a new framework called Chinese data with Chinese characteristics. So we're going to see very soon the SEC is going to have to decide whether everybody in China has to be delisted, because if what they are putting out they acknowledge is not compatible with U.S. data, then that's going to be interesting. But it won't be the U.S. attacking; it'll be response what Xi is doing. But anyway, let's move on. We have a daily on the markets that is focused on tradable circumstances, but now I've just started up a political daily developments that can have an effect that are, not in the vision of most people who are studying charts and tables.
Okay.
But let me begin with where we are right now. The fiscal year for the U.S. ends on the 30th of September, and now the new fiscal year begins October 1. We have analyzed the budget up, down, and sideways, but going much deeper into the detail. And our conclusion is that the borrowing needs of the U.S. Treasury in this coming fiscal year are going to be much larger than all the estimates to date, larger than what Treasury is estimating, larger than the Congressional Budget Office. So where we are is simple. 5 years ago, U.S. debt was about 50% of GDP. The latest Congressional Budget Office estimate is that we're about 118% of GDP.
Danger zone.
We believe that right after the fiscal year starts, new estimates will be made, and we're going to be up from 118 much higher. Okay. That the borrowing needs are going to be much larger than everybody's expecting.
So this spells a continuation move of bear market and bonds because the supply is going to be so huge. Who are going to be the buyers?
Well, this gets really interesting. The quick response of many people is who's going to buy this, and the interest rates are going to go higher.
Yeah.
But they'll be going higher at a time when Europe and much of the rest of the world is still in a slump, or in fact going into deeper recession. So, and the borrowing needs in other countries are going to be even bigger during that downturn. So everybody's going to be wanting to buy treasuries. The U.S. will be able to finance this, but the treasury rates will be higher. So this is going to be very, very painful, let's say in Europe.
Okay.
80% of European financing for business is variable interest rates. It's all bank lending. For the U.S., bank lending is less than 20% of our credit. So the Europe is going to get beaten. The euro will get beaten up in this process. So who's going to buy? The answer is, in the euro-dollar market, when everything's going bad, you buy anything dollar denominated. And so the rates will go up, but demand will also go up. Now, this will be especially powerful with the longer duration bonds. I mean, the 2-year is going to go a little higher, but not
So
much.
does this all still favor the dollar? It's been pretty relentless, Harold, over the last month or so in its trajectory to the upside. I think there might be a little pause here, but overall, because we're handling higher interest rates with less damage than the rest of the world, does that make the dollar the preferred long fiat currency?
Yeah, we're going to have a stumbling around right now, in this range, almost 105
Yeah.
for the doxy, but in a few weeks, when the borrowing needs become clearer, then the dollar will 105 may not be where we're going to stop. We'll probably go higher.
109? 109 viable? I know you're not a technician, but you're spitting out, you know exactly where the Dixie is. So you could say you're not a chart reader, you're paying attention to levels.
Yeah. It looks to me, there's room for it to go up quite a bit.
Okay. Euro under parity with your bearishness on Europe?
Euro has to come down quite a bit, given their own financing needs.
Okay.
So that's going to be a shock. It's going to cause a lot of refinancing trouble in areas like commercial real estate in Europe. It's going to be a horror story. And that will, there'll be crowding out. The US,
that old crowding out term, yes. Ross Perot days, crowding out, right?
US borrowing is going to crowd out both private and public borrowing in Europe and most emerging market economies in almost every country.
Does this, I was showing our attendees the chart of the DAX, and the DAX kind of led when we were in a strong bull phase. Europe was outperforming for a while, but you look at the DAX now, it's a much weaker structure than say the S&P 500.
Right.
So it's confirming what you're saying. So do we have a sovereign bond crisis already in Europe that will spread to Asia and then finally the US? Is that the sequence that you're looking for? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So this is going to be a time of turmoil. Now, when you mix that with the politics in the US, everybody's going to try to figure out, well, where's this going? So let me say, point one, we're going to have a shutdown.
This in October.
Yeah, at the beginning,
Okay.
at the start of the fiscal year.
Okay.
And it's going to be full shutdown. Um, the Republicans simply can't get their act together. Um, they might come up with something in the House, but the Senate will kill whatever the House does. So
Okay.
now, about that, that's going to shake up everybody worldwide. I have a little point to
So
make
that
about.
is that a black swan event? Because people always think, just like the debt ceiling, that we always get it done by the last minute, and this time we're not going to get it done.
Yeah, we won't get it done, but it won't last long. Let me tell you why. The payroll for the military, it's once every 2 weeks, and if it doesn't, it sounds not related, but if the military doesn't get paid, you got a lot of military personnel in cities and states where there's high concentration of military. And the military normally votes GOP. But if they're pissed off at the Republicans for not having their pay, it's going to be biting. So the Senate and the House GOP will cave on after when you get close to the end of 2 weeks.
Okay. About 2
So
weeks.
it won't last forever, but it's going to shake up expectations. But going forward after that, how are we going to keep going with a situation in which the Democrats definitely don't want to raise taxes before the election? The Republicans definitely don't want to raise taxes. In fact, Republicans want to cut taxes before the election. The pressure, I mean, there's no relief. So this rising borrowing is going to get worse and worse for many months. And, and that has to be taken into account. Now, it's going to, at some point, manifest itself also. We're not going to have a soft landing. We're going to have the recession.
A crash landing? Crash landing.
I think it will be. I think it will be because everything is coming together now that's going to erase the demand. Credit cards are, at their outer limits. Exposure, student debt. The
repayment.
The government programs for a pandemic are over. We're going to have an implosion of demand. And the stock market will finally get a hit. And techies won't survive that. You're absolutely right. We've already seen accidents. Apple. So, yeah, Apple is a good example. You're absolutely right. You mentioned Apple way back as vulnerable. When Apple announced a few months ago they were going to phase down their presence in China, I said on Twitter, I said they better hurry up and step on the gas. Because if they're there, they're going to get in pain. I think this linking of the two economies is going to get far more intense. And it's going to be China, it's going to be Xi Jinping wanting this more than the US wants it. And that should not be underestimated.
Well, you back up what I've been saying about China. That people were going, well, all the little actions they're taking to stimulate the economy, it's not enough. It's too little, too late. And I said, well, Xi would be willing to have his economy suffer if it caused pain for the US because he doesn't face re-election, and the people of China are more used to hardship than Americans.
Yeah, he's openly saying he doesn't want relief aimed at ordinary working people, because he thinks that it leads to weakness of society, and leads to what he calls the sickness of the U.S. and Europe. So he's outspoken, we're going to tough it out. So they're not going to introduce we're not going to see a big bazooka to stimulate growth. It's not going to happen. And manufacturing, it'll pick up a little, but not much, because the demand for Chinese goods will remain weak when there's a downturn in Europe and most of the rest of the world economy. Trade is not going to pick up much. The shipping companies already all are well aware that they're not expecting any big swing in demand for container traffic across the oceans or stepped up rail traffic at the ports. Um, um, so
they could drag us in. They can help drag us in. It used to be if America caught a cold, the world caught pneumonia. And now it's reversed, hasn't it? That if China catches a cold, the world catches pneumonia.
Well, China has more than
pneumonia.
Yeah,
they have pneumonia.
China's in trouble, and it will stay in trouble. The growth rate's going to stay subdued. Now, who knows? Xi Jinping might say what we need is a war.
Yeah, I was going to go there.
I think the election in Taiwan early next year may be important. If the winner is somebody who seeks more independence, that may be a trigger for Xi.
Okay.
On the other hand, I have a sense that China's military is not as ready for war as Xi is. This defense minister who was just
disappeared.
Disappeared, and now said to be under corruption charges. Just before that, publicly in China, he said publicly a clash with which the U.S. would be catastrophic. I think that upset Xi. I think that's what this is all about. He didn't want that said.
Okay. All right. So any surprises that we should be looking for, or changes in the Ukraine war?
The meeting in Malta of Jake Sullivan and the Russians this last weekend, 2 days, they're talking about something. And I think what they must have been talking about is what to do about Ukraine. So there is a potential for the US and China agreeing that the problem with Ukraine, that nobody wants nuclear weapons to come to the surface. There may be pressure from both together on Putin to just shut down the damn thing, make an arrangement, stabilize where things are. I would not be surprised.
Okay. All right. So I know it's early. We're only in September, and next year is an election year. Is it possible that our two national candidates, one will be being impeached and the other one will be on trial? And there's a guy who is a market forecaster who actually came up and said that there will not be a national election in 2024. All right, so I got to laugh. Do you think is there any circumstances politically with what's going on, and combine it with what you think is going to happen economically, hard landing, that there's so much social unrest that there isn't an election? Or would the only circumstance be that perhaps if Biden's impeached, it might be the flash point for him to escalate things in Russia and use the War Power Acts to postpone an election?
No, I think
Go, you could say I'm full of it, Harold. Go, that's a
no,
crazy.
yeah, I think basically this is two old guys who are going to get tired. Trump is going to get very tired sitting in a courtroom on multiplicity of charges and just,
Yeah,
frustrated and stressed. And then Biden, I'm not sure his body can hold out the
yeah,
intensity. So the most likely surprise is he doesn't decide to stop. He just can't keep going. And so in the last minute, what would the Democrats do? I can give you
nominate Michelle Obama.
that's you got it.
Really? Okay.
Obama is ready to put his wife up. His whole machinery will go away. Yeah, she'll be the surprise, and she'd be hard to beat. She's really popular, especially with women.
And would Oprah be her vice presidential candidate?
Let's hope not. But anyway, and if the Republicans come to a crisis, they don't really, the Florida governor DeSantis is just not that popular.
Yeah.
They don't have somebody. Interesting poll. CNN said if you remove everybody and just look at the candidates now, who is the strongest? It turns out to be Nikki Haley. And Nikki Haley, for reasons obvious, number one, she's got a plan for relieving all this pressure on abortion. She'll pick up more than half the nation because all women vote. And not only that, but many husbands do what their wives tell them to do. So,
Yes,
so,
they better. Look at their shoes. Harold, how about what do you have a view on RFK Jr.?
Yeah, he's not to be underestimated. He's running on Speak the Truth, and it has a big appeal because everybody has disbelief for everything said by both parties.
Right.
And now he may be a disruptor because the Democrats are not going to nominate him, so he may run independently, and that throws a
Yeah.
wrench into the works. But
Okay.
but he's not to be discounted. I know he's written off by the press as half crazy, but he's pretty smart.
Yeah.
And he has a name which has resonance with the public.
Yeah. Okay. So take away huge supply, big percentage of GDP. It's getting worse. Our higher rates are going to cripple the rest of an already weakened European economy and Asia as well. Will the Japanese do anything to stop the fall of the yen? Are they going to move away from yield curve control?
The Japanese have right now. I'm familiar with what they're doing in the BOJ. Right now, their focus is on daily currency movement,
Right.
and but there may be a snap election called in Japan soon. If so, they don't want to do anything that will interfere with that election. And there's one guideline they have to follow, which is that when Ueda was made governor, it was clear from the LDP ruling party that during the next year, they have to raise defense spending to meet the obligations they've taken on, to help strengthen the defense against China in case of Taiwan. So
Okay. Yeah.
that election will be the next determinant of how they handle policy from October-November period.
Okay. Well, Harold, another eye-opening discussion, conversation with you. I want to encourage people to, where do they go to get this letter that you're writing? You have links, is it on Substack or?
Yeah,
Or
no, I know everybody uses Substack, but we're on Shopify. But
I see. Here it
but
is, Shopify right here.
yeah, and I recommend our daily on the markets. The major users of it are not every Tom, Dick, and Harry. Some of the most important and most influential institutional operations and hedge funds are fans of our daily market. We call it the
Okay.
daily. And this new political thing, I just announced it a day and a half ago, and it's already getting a lot of people interested in, because there is no site worldwide on politics and from the point of view how politics may have a major impact on markets. And I'm covering there not just U.S., but German politics, which are in flux now, politics and the politics of India, which is becoming an important player.
Yes.
So all of that is, in my own experience over many years, the politics are important drivers of how the markets behave.
Okay. Agree. Well, you know what, Harold, you can't learn experience, but you can certainly learn from the experience. And I have every time I talk to you. So really enjoyed it. We made news with Michelle Obama might be the Democratic nominee, and always enjoy having you here. Thank you for giving your time to, enlighten us every 3-4 months. Appreciate it.
Great to talk with you, Dan.
All right, Harold. Good luck, and check out Harold. You could find him on Twitter at Hal's Rethink, and check out his writings with Nick Glinsman. And that'll be a wrap. You could join the team in about 16 minutes on the Morning Edge. Don't just count your pips, count your blessings. Good luck on the Fed. What's the Fed going to do today, Harold?
No change, but keep the hawkish bias.
Yeah. All right. So keep a bullet in their pocket, like Barney Fife of Andy of Mayberry. Andy gave him one bullet to carry around. All right. Anyway, thank you, Harold. I'll talk to you soon. I'll be in touch.
Bye.
Adios. Take care, everybody. See you tomorrow.
Hey traders, this is Blake Morrow with ForexAnalytix. Thanks for stopping by our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like these videos, share them, and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of the content that we provide here for free. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you in the next video.